Welcome, everyone. This is our first ND AI in the Know extended session. It's our chance to gather and spend more time focused on an AI topic, a deep dive, as the AI podcasters are fond of saying. Today's topic is Google Workspace Studio, part of a new set of tools recently made available to our ND licenses. Workspace Studio enables ND users to set up AI-enhanced workflows right inside the Google tools. And it's something the team is very excited about. I'm Joe Buchanan. I'm joined by Brandon Rich, Roberto Caceres, Chaz Grundy, Kayla Kleber, and Rob Wick. Together, we are the ND AI Enablement Team. So let's jump in. What is Workspace Studio going to do for us, and why are we so excited about it?
Okay, Joe. We've been very excited about Workspace Studio and sort of waiting for it to hit our domain here at Notre Dame. There was sort of some rumblings back in December that this would happen, and it was delayed a little bit. So we're very glad to see it starting to hit our accounts now. This to me is very exciting because it gets to some of these use cases that people come to us with that are about personal productivity. Can I get AI to take a look at my email or to do things in my calendar? We live in this Google Workspace environment, but how do we, make AI work for us in that space? I think there's going to be a lot of room for creativity, and we're already seeing how people are putting it together in interesting ways.
I think so. Before the availability of this tool, we had conversations around automation and AI, and now this brings those two pieces together, right? We had people who wanted it to do things automatically that weren't possible before, so we have that. And secondly, from my perspective, the privacy afforded through these tools existing within our Google environment is going to allow us to do so much more than what we've had, what was possible before, where we were relying on outside tools that then connected to our environment, and the privacy protections weren't really there. I think with AI Studio, with the Workspace Studio, we have the ability to do so much more.
I see it as a beginner looking in is it's just your different Google tools able to see each other and to talk to each other. And at a very basic level, it's just reducing copying and pasting and just really mundane, tedious things that you used to do. And now the AI can take over some of that for you.
I think at a basic level, people have been introduced to some sort of these like workflows just in Gmail even. I mean, from like I have this incoming email, I want to automatically filter on these, add a label, archive it. This is the next step of that. But not only can you do that in Gmail, you can do it in Sheets, you can do it in Documents, you can do it all over the workspace offerings.
These use cases are the first things people come up with in our AI workshops many times. As we're talking about what you could do, they immediately start to apply these things to my day-to-day life. We're asking them to think, like, what are the things that are the least efficient tasks about your day? What are the things that if you could hand this off and replace it would be the best time savers or frustration savers? And putting this in people's hands is going to be great. I think it's got a little ways to go before it's able to do all those things. But as far as it stands right now, people are going to get great value out of this right away.
And it's very powerful that they provide templates. So if you feel overwhelmed, you can just click on stuff that's pre-built for you. And not only that, it gives you ideas that you may not have even thought of ways to optimize your work.
Let's check it out. Let's see a little bit of how this is going.
So how do we access this new tool? Well, one of the ways is by going to this URL, studio.workspace.google.com, or in your just normal Gmail inbox, there's a new icon that's in the upper right-hand corner that shows you, different templates and with a link to go to this. So this Workspace Studio has, as Kayla said, templates just for startup things. They have things like, hey, I want to get a daily summary of unread emails because, who has time to read all of the emails? So let's go through and make sure, what kind of stuff I missed. If you click on one of those, it shows up a starter things and some actions to go along with. If you didn't want to do one of the templates and just play around, you could start from scratch, start a blank one. But let's just go through kind of what they have as offerings here. So for example, this one says on a schedule. So because this was get a daily summary, it's going to do this on a schedule. You can set your dates, set your time, how often, very much like a Google calendar sort of frequency sort of thing, how often it works. There's other options in here. And then the magic part of this, the AI part of this, is what you want it to do. So in this case, there's a recap unread emails action, and you can go through and change this prompt to what it does. But this is for the template. It's gonna do some things, and then in the end, in this case, it's gonna notify you in chat with what the unread emails were. Um, this is just one example of what you could do. But let's start a new one and kind of see the different options that they have for us. So there's going to be some sort of starter or trigger, and these are the options currently available. And so there's, that on a schedule that we've seen before, um, with the daily email thing, or there's those triggers that you can do when you get an email and with different filters on that, or when you're mentioned in chat, or when a Google sheet changes, and you can, based on a certain row, based on information within the row, when different files are edited, when a Google Drive folder is added, or when, if you do things with Google Forms, based on responses of that, you can choose those. So let's just assume there's a form here. You can do when there's a new or edited response. If you check that box, you would add in the form that you're actually linking to. And then let's see what we can do based on what happens. So when that thing gets triggered, here's the sort of things we can do. We can do just a general Gemini prompt. So if you're familiar with Gemini and just asking things, this is kind of similar to saying, hey, Gemini, do this thing with this pasted information. Except instead of having to go to Gemini and paste in the information, you can get the information from previous steps in this workflow. So there's the Gemini one. These 4 are also Gemini based, but they're more specific. So there's that recap, unread emails. There's extract, which is a little bit more nuanced. But if you're interested, you can go in there, pull out variables and information based on previous steps. There's a summarized one, and then the decide is kind of like it asks Gemini, hey, should an action be taken on this? And so a lot of those, like in the email realm, are like, hey, is this thing urgent? Is this thing important? Do I need to notify someone? And so there is like a template in there that says notify me in chat from an important message. That's using that decide node here of, hey, look through these emails. If there's something urgent, notify me in another way so I see it, so it's not just in the realm of everything else. You can filter, you can check if, and then all these other things are what you can actually do, based on that. So those are more like logic-based things. When doing these different things that you can, after the thing has been triggered, what we can do is, email, chat with it, notify yourself in chat, update different rows in spreadsheets. All of these have the same permissions as Workspace. And so if you don't have the permissions to view a particular sheet, you can't do it in this. Same with folders and Gmail actions that we have available. Right now, you can only email yourself. You can draft an email and you can have it make a draft, put in the recipients of who it's going to be, but it can't actually send it except for yourself. We don't want people, spamming all sorts of people with this sort of thing, either on accident or hopefully not on purpose. And you can do various things with Google Docs as well. Or if you use Google Tasks, you can create yourself a task based on these sorts of things.
And we could have this do multiple things, right? Like it could draft the reply, make a decision about whether it's going to add something to a document, and put something in a spreadsheet.
Absolutely. If we wanted to, you could notify, me in chat. You could email. You could send out a different thing in a sheet. I think there's a lot of use cases for that people are going to come up with that I don't know that we even know what people are going to do with. So, for example, those like multiple stage sort of triggers. I have something that's okay. When I get an email based on, and there's a subject here to me. This particular subject is hey, this is when the next maintenance window is going to be, but there wasn't a calendar sent out for it, and so I want to be reminded that this thing is going to happen. And so what I do is I get an email. I'm going to take the email body. I'm going to pull out those times, right? I'm going to pull out the start and the end date of when that maintenance window happens. And then what I'm going to do is add it to a spreadsheet. But what I can do with that in a separate sort of flow, you can pull all of that spreadsheet, and look to see when those are. Decide, hey, if it's that time, if it's 15 minutes from now, then give me a chat. So that just is like a reminder of, hey, this maintenance thing, this window is here. Let me know about that.
And
And I
Rob,
think
is that
that's,
because you might be about to get to this, but is that because right now these cannot create calendar events or look at your calendar, remind you directly? So this is kind of a neat workaround.
yeah. So there is a way you can do it based on calendar items, but it can't create a calendar item right now. And so if it could create a calendar item, I would have just done that. I wouldn't have messed with this other sheet. If you use Google Chat a lot and you use Google Tasks, it doesn't have to be tasks. It can be inserted into a spreadsheet or whatever. But if you have some to-do sort of list that this can interact with, this is real neat. So what I have here is whenever in any chat message, in any Google Chat message, if I add this clipboard emoji, it gives me a Google task, right? And so if somebody says, "Hey Rob, could you do this?" All I have to do is go boop, add the clipboard. I make that noise every time too, and then it adds me
Important.
a Google task.
That just gave
If I
me a
don't,
really good idea because our team likes to post news about AI. So we could give a little
Uh,
news emoji, have it feed to a spreadsheet, and just
Mm.
aggregate all the stuff that we find.
Instead of scrolling
cool.
back at the end of the month trying to find what
Yeah.
we just linked to. That's a great idea.
after the emoji is added in the create task, the Google task, there's different things we can do. And so one, there's you can set when you want that task to go forward. So I just put it the day that it starts. But then there's the different things you can extract. So for this one, this variables button adds in all of the things that would have came from steps before. And so in this case, I mean, you could put who did this, but that was only me for this particular one. What the actual emoji was, again, this isn't necessary for this one. But what I want is the message text. I might also want the link to the message if it's like out of context. I might add that in like the text description. So actually, let's add that here, and I'm going to put the link to the message in the chat as both of these, and so then I at least have like the individual line that was added in there and a link back to the chat in case I need extra context.
I in playing with this a little bit, I've found a few things that I'm bumping up against. Like you can't have it create a folder in a shared drive. So it can create a folder in your My Drive where only you have access to it, but it won't. I think it's to what you said earlier, Rob, which is that it's trying to avoid us spamming other people. I don't want to create a work. They don't want me to create a workflow that blows up Kayla's inbox or destroys Roberto's Google Drive. So there's some of those that maybe that gets we find ways to do that in the future. I would love to automate some of these intake processes, like somebody requests an AI accelerator, and then they can generate the folder, add all the resources I need to it, kind of kick off the workflow for me. So right now, this has fallen just a little short of that. But so it's really more in that realm of personal productivity workflow that you're talking about, as opposed to process workflows across the team.
Also interesting because we need to understand how the sharing works. I think you can share your workflow, but then
Hmm.
once you share it, what does the person who receives it have to adjust on their end to get it to work with their stuff?
Yeah, Rob shared his workflow, and it makes a copy of that workflow, and then you start to adjust those things. I could see us building out some recipes for some common workflows, having an article up that it explains, okay, here's a common thing people want to do. As we find common use cases people would love to share, maybe we can make it really easy for people to do that.
Any concerns with these tools? Things we should be on the lookout for?
Just like with filters in Gmail, people can get a little bit aggressive with them, or you can write them a little too broadly. And so, if you have a filter that's catching things you didn't intend, folks may say, "Well, hey, I didn't get the email." Well, it was just being caught by the wrong filter. This has the potential to do some of that as well, running away with some of your content, doing something that you're not understanding why. And it's another place to look and troubleshoot.
I will say in that regard, there is this like when you're setting up these workflows, there is a test run button that you can run on that. Also, there is an audit log of every time this thing has run. and every time these flows have run. And so if you are, suspecting that there are things that these flows are doing that you're not aware of, there is history that you can go through and see, oh yeah, that was this thing that I didn't properly set up the filter on my emails or whatever.
Think one of the concerns that I have is making sure to keep the human human, right? Keeping the things that need to be human, like decisions and maybe personal emails. So like if you have someone that requires a softer email versus someone that can just get a blank template or a template email, right? Making sure those remain there and the decision maintains its humanity.
Oh, well, this has been great, guys. Thank you so much for spending the time and talking through this. Thanks everyone who's watching. Um, Make sure you check out our other resources. We have a playlist of quick tips to help you get started using these AI tools. You can visit ai.nd.edu for all of the latest AI happenings on campus. And we hope to see you soon with another one of these in the near future.